Hey guys, welcome back to Football by Rob. It's Rob here. Apologies for missing the post game breakdown after the Iraq game, but that wasn't my fault. That was mainly due to the whole rain factor and the thunderstorm thing that basically delayed the game for 2 hours. I just couldn't stay up, man. I mean, I'm in India, so it's like 4:30 or something by the time the game started, or 5. And I had work the next day, so I just couldn't do that. So I apologize for that. I'm just gonna talk about France getting through the group stages and qualifying for the knockouts, having won all three of their games for the first time since 1998. And fun fact, they went on to win the whole thing the last time they did that as well. But we'll see. I just wanted to break the game down and also, if I have time, to touch on a few other things that are Arsenal related. But we'll see how the video goes. If it rambles on for too long, I'll just cut it short. Before I get started, just want to say thank you to anybody who's watching. It really means a lot. The support is always appreciated. I also make some artworks and stuff. I'll leave the link in the description. It's pop culture and sport related, and if you want to check them out and help me out, that's always welcome. But enough of that. Let's get into the game today. So without without beating around the bush too much, France beat Norway 4-1. Let me just swap my screen here. So yeah, France beat Norway 4-1, and it's been a really fun watching this France team in the group stage. Even though I still have some of my doubts and concerns regarding the style of play and what we are doing and the kind of personnel we are deploying. But so far, I am really impressed with the team. I'm impressed with the fact that the coach and the management, they have been uh, much more, how should I say, front-footed in their attacking ambition, and that is much more refreshing to see compared to what we saw in Euro 24. Also, condolences to Didier Deschamps. He lost his mother in the build-up to this game, so he wasn't available on the touchline, and it was his assistant who was taking charge. But this game really didn't feel like that massive contest that everybody had thought it would be, when the draws were made, because you had Erling Haaland on one side, you had Kylian Mbappe on the other. There was this whole narrative going into the game where both of them had scored a brace in the second match day. So it was pretty anticlimactic. I mean, if you just see, Norway went and fielded a completely second string side basically, and I don't think they ever wanted to come out and go for this game. Even at a point when in the second half, with the last 30 minutes, you'd expect um players like Haaland and Odegaard maybe to come on, but they just chose to play it safe and hold them back, maybe preserving their fitness for the knockouts. And fair enough. I mean, France have an abandonment of riches, so it makes more sense for France to be more gung ho about it. But and France were extremely good. I mean, within the first 5 minutes of the game, I think there were two or three shots that had already gone towards the goal, and Dembele scored in the 7th minute. I'll just show you the stats here. Dembele scored in the 7th minute, which was an absolute beauty. And I mean, yeah, this was the goal. So he gets the ball from Mbappe. Let me just take it to the tactics board so I can show it to you there. So it's basically on the transition where Mbappe is in this sort of a position, and you have a lot of Norwegian players who are out of position, and he gets the ball to to Dembele. And what Dembele does is he goes in and then out and then back in again, and then next thing you know, he's gone and just scored absolute banger into the bottom corner. I mean, it almost reminded me of Olise moving around players with ease during the Champions League. The way Dembele was shifting the Norwegian defenders at will, and I mean he scored the first goal with his weaker foot. So I don't think the defender was expecting him to be doing that. Most people would be expecting him to take it on his left, and that's what he ended up doing for the second and third goal. So he gave us a lead in the 7th minute, and then in the 20th, this was an even better goal. And once again, you had Mbappe with the assist, and I mean, I just hats off. And Dembele had a lot of pressure on him coming into this World Cup as well, because yes, he's the current Ballon d'Or holder and everything, but he has not been one of the stars for this French team. in the last two World Cup cycles. Even in 2018, he was a bit part player in that squad and he picked up a medal, fair enough. And in 2022 also, he was not really that great. He got hooked in that final as well, gave away the penalty, even though I will die on the hill that Di Maria died. And yes, anybody who disagrees with me, I don't give a flying, you know what, he died. But nonetheless, Dembele was at the scene of the crime for a lot of bad things with France in that final. And I mean, if you come into this tournament as well, he hadn't even scored a World Cup goal. So he's finally broken that duck. And what a way to do it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So he got this in the 20th, and then right after that, Norway scored their only goal of the game through, I think, Theo Asgardia, and it was straight from kickoff. And I didn't understand why the French team were just completely switched off in that moment. I mean, even if you look at the attacking momentum of the first half, it's all France except for these, random spurts, and even their goal completely comes against the run of play because France were just caught off guard from the kickoff, and then in the second half, you see them actually having more impetus, but they didn't get any goals. And France went back to attacking right after the Norwegian goal as well. So I just need them to be switched on a bit more. But yeah, so Asgard scored that goal for Norway, and things all of a sudden appear a bit um, testy. But then Dembele just put everything beyond doubt with that third goal. So even this was a beaut, absolute beaut in the 34th minute, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 32nd minute, pardon me. And amazing. I mean, if you see all three of his goals, so the first goal here, there's an XG of 0.09, and then the second goal, which is an XG of 0.11, and then you have the third goal, which is another XG of 0.09. He's gone and bagged a hat trick with what, 9, 18, 29, and a total XG of 0.29. My God, that is just lethal, lethal clinical finishing. And I sincerely wish we can see more of this from the entire French team, where they take the chances that they get early on, so that they aren't, huffing and puffing in the second half. It's imperative that you be clinical in a World Cup situation, because the randomness of football can be so crazy that you may be making all the chances in the world, but if you don't take them, the opponent can just get the rub of the green and score one, even when it doesn't look like they scored, like Norway scored today's goal, and then you're basically up a river without a paddle. And I really like the fact that France were very clinical, but at the same time, I'll also have to consider the fact that we still haven't played anybody of consequence yet. Senegal, nothing to write home about. Yes, they've won today, and they've basically drubbed Iraq 5-0 or something. I didn't watch that game, to be honest. I was just focusing on the France game and my Icons career mode that I have on with Como. I'll do a series on that if you guys like it. But yeah, so Senegal weren't that great. Iraq in the second game also, we didn't really get challenged by them as such, and it was tame. I think the biggest issue in that game was the lightning delay, rather than the opponents. And even in this game, because we haven't played full strength Norway, I can't really say much about it. In the second half, we go into the start, and Norway won a penalty right at the start, and it was what it was Theo Hernandez, if I'm not mistaken, who put in an extremely poor tackle. He'd been done by Oscar Bob on the right wing. When we get the tactics board out. So in the second half, so there we go. Yeah. So in the second half, what you had this situation where where's Oscar Bob? Yeah, Oscar Bob was using his twinkle toes here, and Theo Hernandez just puts in such a stupid, stupid challenge. He just puts his leg out while he's trying to cut on the outside and put a cross in, and it was a blatant penalty. No complaints about that. But I mean, do you believe in destiny? I might start just now because I have seen a French goalkeeper save a penalty in the World Cup. I don't genuinely don't remember when the last time was that happened. Whether it has even happened in my lifetime. I have seen Fabian Barthez fluff at penalties like anything. I have seen Gregory Coupe miss penalties. I have seen Hugo Lloris just be decimated in penalties. I still hold him responsible for the shit show that was that 2022 penalty fine shootout in the final. Extremely, extremely annoying. But for the first time in a long time, uh, we've actually seen a penalty get saved by France, and I couldn't be happier about that. And then it was pretty straightforward after that, because France also knew that the game is more or less wrapped up, and they didn't really put a lot of effort into attacking. They did get a goal through the subs. Barcola putting in an assist for Doué. Doué did start, but yeah, um, yeah. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say other than we look good. We look good. But if I, I'm still the pessimist in me is still worried about this massive fucking gap in the midfield. And in the early on in the second half, what I saw Norway actually pressing us hard, and it got to a point where we were just stuck in a shape where you have the front four essentially as one different unit, and then you have this containment unit of the back six. And very rarely did I see Dembele or Olise come back to track back to help. And actually, when Norway had some runners up, you would see them trying to be the extra person who would, I mean, essentially block out a passing lane or try to eliminate one of the options for the Norwegian players on the ball. And we weren't seeing that at all. I mean, even Mbappe, he didn't score in this game. So, and there were times where he was just standing on. I think I just saw him try and press a Norwegian defender once, just once. And again, I keep reiterating the fact, yes, Mbappe is one of the best attackers in the world, an absolutely generational player, in my opinion, who can create moments out of thin air like a magician. He's got a he's got amazing ability to uh, score goals and always try and find the target with his strikes. But at the same time, if we come up, this is Norway, so I don't want to like I don't want to mean any disrespect to them, but they are not one of the elite teams in this World Cup. And in a situation where you are going to have elite teams move up and everybody's going to pitch in and try and create an overload or find an extra man to work in the half space and put a ball in, you cannot have one guy just standing waltzing. I'm worried about that. And yes, it may not show against the Senegals and the Iraqs and the Norways of the world, but it could rear its ugly head if you come up against the Germany, if you come up against the Spain. Um, these are teams who are projected to be on our path to the final. I think we might end up playing Germany in the round of 16 maybe. But yeah, I'm genuinely concerned about that. I'm concerned about this two-man midfield as well. I keep reiterating and probably sound like a broken record, but when you come up against a really technical team, they're going to have enough about them to pass around you. And I'm not sure if uh, the two-man midfield is going to be enough, especially when you know that these four, they are not known for tracking back and helping out. Maybe Olise on a good day, but yeah, I mean, maybe you can say it's also Deschamps' instructions, right? He's wanted to build this sort of a double sided sword where you have these people in the block and you have these four ready to attack and be fluid. And I can understand where he's coming from, where you have a situation where Dembele can float into the center, Olise can float to the right. You have Doué can swap wings. You have Dembele and Mbappe moving positions, and Mbappe going to the left, and Olise playing out the middle. So these are a lot of things that can be done, and that fluidity basically brings a lot of uncertainty for the opposition that is trying to assign a defensive assignment to a particular player. And all four of them are extremely technical, great on the ball with their feet, and they all can pick out passes and they all can score from distance. So it's amazing. But you are sacrificing that one person who could be here to defend as well. Now, if you see Bruno in Portugal, he will be occupying these sort of spaces when they are on the ball, but when they are not on the ball, he will be helping out and trying to fill the gaps when the opposition are trying to get through. I think we would be better off if we had something like that as well. And I hope that when we come up against an actual elite team, we are not going to be this open, and we are not going to have that massive gap between our front four and the the entire defensive structure. So where does that leave France now? Well, France are through to the knockouts. That's pretty much done and dusted. And yeah, they are on track. If they win their round of 32 game, they are on track to face whoever is the winner between Germany and this. Now, let's see who the possible opponents are. So France have a possible opponent: 3C, 3D, 3F, 3G, 3H. Fair enough. So if we just go here, 3C, who is 3C? I'm assuming it's gonna be like this. It should they should Yeah, 3C is Scotland right now, but Scotland are out, so that they're not going to go through. 3D, that's Paraguay. Who else was there? 3F, 3G, 3H. Okay, so 3F is Sweden maybe. 3G is Belgium as it stands, but it could change because Belgium are yet to play. They're probably playing tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. And 3H, interesting. So Spain and Uruguay are playing tomorrow. Now it depends on what's going to happen between these two, because if Cape Verde can get a result against Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia have been really, really poor in this World Cup. I must say, all the Asian teams have been really poor in this World Cup, barring Japan. So it remains to be seen. It could be one of these as well. And then you're basically going to play whoever wins between Germany and this. And I'm expecting it to be Germany. They're also pretty good. So round of 16 will be our first big test, ideally. Until and unless maybe we get a bogey team in the round of 16, which I don't see it happening, to be honest. I think I think there's a chance that we get to the semifinals at least. I think it's certainly possible, and then it's anybody's game. But I will say I'm really liking the fact that there is a lot of cohesion in this team. I wasn't expecting so much cohesion. I was certainly worried. Part of me certainly was worried about there being too much of an ego issue, especially with Mbappe and the whole narrative around him for the last 2 years with club football, and how he's moved to Real Madrid right after they became the European champions, and since then PSG have gone on to create this dynastic aura about themselves in Europe. They've won two Champions Leagues, they've won a treble. Dembele has won a Ballon d'Or, and for all we know, he could be one of the front runners for it again this season, depending on how things go. So I was genuinely worried that Mbappe might be, coming in with a lot of main character energy in this World Cup, where he'll be like, I want to do everything by myself and I'm not going to help out as much. But I've been seeing him not be as selfish. I still think he needs to be doing more defensively. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, apart from that, I'm not that fast. If we see the total XG as well, France underperformed their XG here. I mean, overperformed their XG. I'm sorry. So they had a total of 1.31. They had 1.69. Yes, a lot of this comes down to that penalty as well, which they got. But France are creating a lot of chances. They just need to remain clinical like this. I just hope they stay healthy. And yeah, it's possible we can do a lot of this. I don't know how long we've been speaking for. It may have been a while. Let me just check. Hold on. We've been speaking for a long time now, so I think I'm gonna save my thoughts for all the Arsenal related transfer stuff for another video. Let's just keep this to France only. Yeah, we'll see how everything else happens. Spain, Uruguay are supposed to kick off in an hour from now, I think. 5:30, maybe I'm not mistaken, India time. I don't know if I'll be able to stay awake and watch that. Yeah, but let's see what happens. Let me know what your thoughts are about the French team, how they've performed so far. Do you think they are one of the favorites to go all the way and win? I mean, they are one of the favorites to at least get to the quarterfinals, but do you think they can win it? And do you think there's any team that can stop them? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Bye.